Okay, so the Love Island USA finale just wrapped. And if you're anything like me, you probably have thoughts. As always, there are bombshell entrances, villa twerk-offs, over-the-top speeches, and over-the-top looks. And even though, in my humble opinion, this season hit different, Love Island still managed to say something about the search for modern love. So now the dust is settled and the prize money's been split. I'm here to break down the three big lessons I'm taking away from this season's finale. Let's get into it. I'm Antoinette, and this is Culture Alchemy. So, the first real lesson that I'm taking away from Sunday night's finale is the slow burn can sometimes equal a big return. This season wasn't really giving fireworks from the jump. It was giving slow burns, missed signals, and friends to lovers energy. And while that made for a lot less drama, it also probably made for more realistic foundations too. And the strongest couples were not the ones that came in guns blazing. They were the ones who really took their time, built trust, and stayed curious. And that might actually be why I wasn't really that invested at first. I didn't really find myself getting into this cast the way that I have in previous seasons. And I think just because it felt more like Friendship Island and not Love Island. But it did make me feel a little different by the finale. And I could definitely see the value in the simmer. And it made me think that maybe friendship is actually the ultimate foreplay, or at least the best foundation for something that might last. I also noticed, and tell me, Alchemist, if you feel this way too, but I noticed there was also a lot of talk about the invisible string theory, both in the villa and offline. And for those who don't know what that is, so this idea that the universe keeps two people apart until the timing is right. And when they finally meet, there's usually like a series of really uncanny coincidences. It's as if the timing has been choreographed for them to meet for something greater. And it's something that I noticed with Ace and Shelley, who met previously in New York City and then rekindled in the villa. There was also talk about potentially Pepe and Iris were also both LA locals and had similar circles and are finally meeting in the villa. There's a little bit of this throughout. There are odd connections between a lot of the couples, and I think this is really something that made the season quite fascinating and helped me to get a little bit more invested into the couples by the end. So yeah, maybe the strongest couples weren't the ones that came in hot. Um, which also brings me to my second lesson, and this could be a whole TED talk in and of itself. It's the power of authenticity. There really is a lid for every pot, and there is obviously a benefit in showing up as you and really owning that. And no one exemplified this more than our dear Amaya Papaya.
All three of them are so athletic.
Oh yeah, extremely, extremely athletic. My man gotta be strong enough to carry me and my emotional baggage.
She was vulnerable. She was able to become so relatable, not because of where she ended up in the winner's circle, but actually because of her journey. That made her so much more interesting to see her navigating the highs and lows of modern dating. I mean, who hasn't struggled with modern dating? And in my opinion, her and Brian were really the only real choice for the final because they obviously seem to have a real bond that was built on a real shared value set, culture, and also they seem to really see each other. So I think in the finale, Brian said something about the fact that he felt he was misunderstood and that she was misunderstood. And so I love when two weirdos just find each other. I think it's just so beautiful. So their final date, in my opinion, was the most intimate, and it made sense because they were very family oriented. So they had the jungle dinner date where they looked at old family photos and basically walked each other through their childhood, which I thought was so lovely. And I kind of knew there was something special there because I could just see that they could just enjoy each other's company. And Brian standing up for Amaya during the challenge when they had to clear the air amongst the islanders, for me that was really the turning point in the relationship, and I'm really rooting for them once they're back in the real world which I think, fingers crossed, I really think they're going to make it, or I think at least have a good shot because all the ingredients are there. As I said before, they seem to really understand each other, mind, body, and soul. And it seems like they have a mutual respect and also a fondness for each other based on their shared connection over family and culture. They also have the family's unbridled support. So I think that really bodes well for them. And I don't know, they just seem to be really consistently there for each other. They had each other's back, and damn, they had amazing physical chemistry too. Um, but also, there were levels to their conversations. They were playful, they were vulnerable, they were curious about each other. And that was a problem for me in this season. There was a lot of performing, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, absolutely love Amaya and Brian. So happy that they took the prize home. But ultimately, I think even if they hadn't won the money, they still would have been winners in my book because they found each other. So let's get into the final date reactions. And let's start with everyone's favorite train wreck, Chris and Huda. Now, I think this is the first time I've actually seen a breakup in the finals. I'm not surprised. I think Huda really treated Chris more like a child than a partner. It is wild to scold a grown man in bed by counting him down for cuddles. I've never seen that before. Probably not a great look. And to be honest, their final date was extremely awkward and it had such a high romance potential. I mean, they were sitting at a dinner table, sort of surrounded by water, dimly lit, while somebody was serenading them to Moon River. I mean, I did prefer the Frank Ocean version, to be honest, but still, be that as it may, it was a romantic situation and it was like a no-mance between them. There was a no-mantic situation in one of the most highly unlikely situations that there could be. It was all the ingredients that you'd want, and yet I felt absolutely nothing on their date. I also think Chris was already on the fence. It's like you could see when you watched it back that although I do think he liked her, I think at a certain point he probably just could not withstand the force that was Hurricane Huda. And he was on the fence by the time they got to that final date. And I could kind of see that he's probably just sick of the dynamic and actually just kind of started to get sick of her. And you can literally see the point where he reached about zero Fs, probably sometime between the point where they popped the champagne and before they finished the apps. They were basically fighting. So, yeah, I think they made the right choice to separate and just be friends. Their communication styles are just not happening. They're not really compatible there, and they also have this long distance problem. So, I mean, they're really swimming upstream on this one. And I did question Chris's authenticity a little bit toward the end because, I mean, let's face it, he was always the gentleman when the cameras were on. But the minute they were in a private moment, it seemed like he would just go super cold on her. So I noticed the switch up right away whenever there wasn't an audience, right? And okay, let me know what you guys think about him not helping her uh, at the end of the dinner when she asked to be carried. Now, I can understand he's probably like, "Hey, listen, I don't need to be carrying you." He's probably still a little bit butthurt. The conversation didn't go the way he was hoping it was going to go. So I could understand why he didn't want to do it. But I mean, the girl's in heels. She's asking for his help. And I'm kind of surprised that even just as a friendly gesture, being chivalrous, that he didn't at least help her across the bridge, right? So kind of odd. Seemed a little cold, a little icy, but then again, I am not in a situation. I can't imagine how he must have been feeling in that moment. So again, I didn't see a lot of long-term potential there, and I think it was just a matter of just they just weren't compatible. And I think one or both, and by one or both I mean Huda, probably does need to do a little bit more reflection before she's ready. I think to be in a relationship with a man. Um, but we'll see. Moving on. Iris and Pepe. Okay, they had a nice yacht and snorkeling date, and I think that made sense for them. And it seems like they share similar values. I like the conversation that they had on the date when they both kind of disclosed that they feel like quality time is their mutual love language, that they like to see their partner. And I think that's important to have those conversations. I really see again with them that they were friends first. And I actually think, had they not come in as bombshells together, they might have connected sooner. So I don't have too much to say on them. Rooting for them. They seem like a lovely couple, and it'll be interesting to see what happens IRL when they're back in LA, and if and when Pepe also connects, reconnects rather with Hannah. I'll be interested to see what happens there. But I do see some potential with him and Iris, and I wish them well. Okay, now we're on to the main event here. Of course, Nicolandria. Okay, so this was the relationship that I guess everybody but them saw coming. And I really like this couple. I think they balance each other out so well. Um, Nick has kind of got that more mature, kind of grown, sexy attitude when he's with Olandria. She really brings that out in him. And Olandria is a little bit more serious. And I think that Nick brings out a more playful side with her. I've actually never really seen Olandria smile as much as she does when she's with him. I mean, I'm seeing her teeth all the time, and I think that's super rare throughout most of the show. Even when she was with Taylor, I really didn't see that. So that's a sign right there. I really dig their vibe. I'm also really rooting for them, and I think they've got a good shot because the family is certainly on board. And I think to a certain extent, they might be leaning into their attraction in part because the world is telling them that, duh, there's something there. So at the very least, I think they're going to be homies for life. And I loved the final date, the oceanside picnic, followed by the jungle hike, to read all of their family letters, and of course to get the letters from all their stands out there. I loved it. I think it was such a beautiful date, and I love Olandria's realization that she often dated someone for their potential. I mean, can we just run that back one more time? She dated someone for their potential. So relatable. I mean, how many of us have experienced that or seen others do that? So, real talk there. Nick also had a beautiful moment where he, talked about their love being a plant, and love has to be nurtured and watered for the seed to grow. I mean, Nick is pretty fly for a white guy. He's my favorite guy in the villa this season, hands down. And he's the gift that keeps on giving. He's giving us these deep cuts here. And he's also giving us Mamacita clips.
I'm a mommy.
Mommy?
I'm a mom.
Mamacita.
No, I'm a mommy.
A mom of what? A dog?
I have a daughter.
Like in real life?
Yeah.
Like a daughter, like a real baby?
Yeah, like a human child.
He's a light in the villa, and like some of the vibe I got from Brian and Maya, I feel like this date also had levels. There was a depth to the conversation, but also they're mad playful too, and I really love that. I also think they have wicked chemistry. I mean, I I I don't kiss my friends like that, so I don't know. They definitely have something going on, but it'll be interesting to see what happens there. And like probably most of the world right now, I'm rooting for them. Okay, so I already spoke about Amaya and Brian and their jungle dinner date and photo album share, which I thought was such a beautiful date, and they seem so solid. They're weeing all over the place. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. It shows their commitment to each other outside the villa. They're making future plans. In fact, they decide to be exclusive. So I really think they have a great shot. And of course, they're thinking about merging of their family and friends, which is amazing. And also brings me to my third and final lesson from Love Island USA. And that is that no relationship lives in a vacuum. There are parents, there's pressure, and there's TikTok. You're dating the whole damn internet. And no relationship operates in a vacuum. Outside influences really make a big difference, and we can see this with couples like Nick and Andrea that I mentioned that their families were really behind them, and like basically the entire internet was behind them. So how do you not explore that relationship? I think the fans standing a relationship or not getting behind one, as was the case with Shelley and Ace and Taylor and Clark, okay, the court of public opinion will also have a say in whether or not the Islanders pursue something. I mean, you have to be on the show first and foremost to actually get into a relationship. And we did see and had to pour out some drink for two Islanders who had to exit stage right because of racist comments they made online. So you can come on the show and perform a certain way, but the fans, and apparently not the producers, will find out what you've been up to. And I believe that what you do in the dark will almost always come to light. Now, Drew and I will say a little bit more about this and the backlash about comments made by the other members of the cast in a future episode. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss that. It also helps our channel grow. So, like, come on, what are you waiting for? I think the pressure the couples will feel beyond their own expectations will make a big difference as to whether they feel they have the resources and the support to overcome the challenges of the real world. I mean, once other priorities come in, work, school, friends, family, I mean, there's a whole village involved when two people come together. And I'm going to be very curious to see what happens when we reunite with this cast at the end of August. Okay, so now let's talk memorable moments. There were so many. Where do we start? Well, in no particular order, definitely Megan the Stallion showing us what a hot girl summer looks like. Her twerk off is up there for me. Amaya Papaya. Amaya Papaya basically the whole season, but her greatest hits. Every time she got the zoomies, which I thought was adorable. Her singing, I never thought I was perfect. I mean, it cut to the core.
I never said I was perfect. I never said I didn't have any flaws. But at least I'm pretty. And at least I'm a little funny. And at least I'm my own best friend.
Okay, we need a remix. That song was dope. And it really exemplified how true she was to herself and how relatable she was because her journey wasn't that easy. She really wasn't treated that well. She was friend zoned by everybody that she went after. So I think it's really interesting to see her full circle journey to becoming America's sweetheart. So happy for her. She deserves everything that she has coming when she leaves the villa and the love that's going to obviously rain down on her. I also got to give a shout out once again to my boy, Nick. I think he carried himself, for the most part, like a gentleman. I think he was also really entertaining. And I always found when he was on screen that I was definitely, he kept my attention. I love his hot takes. He obviously gave us a lot of really great viral moments. I mentioned before the Mamacita conversation, which was hilarious. And then, of course, shout out to all the Islanders because they brought it for every single challenge. Whether it was the bombshells dropping in, dressed in leather, whether it was the Casa Amor challenges and the relay, which is a classic, whether it was America, voting and ranking. The challenges were fire. And I really, really, really think that this season had probably some more viral moments than last because the contestants brought it during those challenges. No one can say that they didn't do that. And of course, Nicolandria getting eliminated was one of the most shocking moments as well too. And I got to give a shout out to our hostess with the mostest, Ariana Maddox. Damn. Damn. She brought it. Her and her glam squad, they outdid themselves this season. And every time I see her on screen, I instantly want to drop and start doing sit ups. I mean, talk about ab goals. Honestly, the real winner this season were her abs. um, the finale, the speeches were great. Everyone looked sharp. Huda looked beautiful and was absolutely my favorite in terms of the finale dress. I think Amai and Brian also have really touched me because they both said that they wanted to use their prize money to donate to charity and support mental health initiatives in Brian's case. So we'd love to see that. Oh, and on that note, tiny nitpicking here, but okay, we got to get rid of that prisoner's dilemma. Like, are you going to choose the money or not choose the money? I mean, it takes a really, really special to take the money and run, and no one does it. So it's kind of anticlimactic. So let's keep that for another series like Love Island Games. I mean, we don't really need to see that in the Love Island series. And really, at the end of the day, many of the Islanders, they didn't really get what they wanted or even expected, but they probably got what they needed. Most of them found something, whether it's clarity, community, or a little more of themselves. I adore the sisterhood and the brotherhood that the contestants found. And sometimes that's actually the most important prize. Huda will definitely have a come to Jesus moment when she watches the playback. And the friendships that they made will definitely endure. And that's a beautiful thing. So that's a wrap on Love Island USA Season 7. I'm so glad to get my life back. So, what do you think? Did the right couple win? What were your takeaways? And do you think that the best relationships always start as friendships? Let us know at culture_alchemy on Instagram. Or if you're watching this on Spotify or YouTube, feel free to leave us a comment as well. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. I mean, just hit that little button. It's right there. It's just right there. Do it. And then you will never miss any of our updates, including my recap of the season with Drew. So until then, alchemists, stay curious.